Have you ever walked away from a conversation with that sinking feeling, replaying the moment in your head, thinking, I wish I had said that better? Maybe your voice didn't sound as strong as you wanted. Maybe your words were misunderstood, even though your intentions were clear inside your mind. That gap between what we mean and what people hear is where influence is either built or broken. The truth is, communication is not just about words. It's not simply opening your mouth and letting sound out. It's about how those words land in another person's heart, how they shape perception, and how clearly they reflect the strength of your inner world. Communication is not performance, it is transmission, a transfer of energy, intention, and belief. And here's the part most people ignore. People rarely remember the words themselves. They remember how you made them feel. Your words are just the vehicle. The real message is carried in your presence, your tone, your body language, your silence, and the energy behind every phrase. In this journey, we are going to break down what it takes to speak in a way that truly connects with people. Not just talking to fill silence, not just saying clever lines to sound intelligent, but speaking in a way that builds trust, holds attention, and makes people want to listen. Speaking in a way that makes people say afterward, that person is different. I feel it. You will learn how to manage your tone, how to use silence as a weapon, how to ask better questions, and how to project calm confidence. Even when pressure is high and emotions are heavy. This is not about becoming perfect. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding the psychology of communication and learning practical ways to show up with your voice, your presence, and your energy fully aligned. Whether you struggle to speak up, whether you want to sound more confident, or whether you simply want your words to matter in the moments that count, this will give you the tools you need. By the end of this, you won't just sound smarter. You'll feel more grounded, more in control, and more ready to speak in a way that leaves no room for doubt. And it all begins here, mastering the foundation. Confidence is not something you declare. It's something you demonstrate. The very first message you ever send to anyone isn't carried by your voice. It's carried by your body, your posture, your movement, your presence. Before you speak a single word, people have already decided something about you. They've already read the signals of your body language. They've already asked, unconsciously, does this person carry strength or weakness? Are they sure of themselves or do they want to disappear? If your body speaks insecurity, your message loses power before it even begins. But when your body radiates calm strength, everything you say gains weight. That's why confident body language isn't a suggestion. It's the foundation. When you walk into a room, you're already speaking. You're telling people how you feel about yourself. You're telling them what you expect from the world. You're telling them whether you are a leader to be respected or a follower to be overlooked. The way you carry yourself silently instructs the world how to treat you. If you hunch your shoulders, avoid eye contact, shuffle your steps, or fold your arms tightly across your body, you are saying, I don't want to be seen, and the world will listen. But if you stand tall, if you open your chest, if you plant your feet, if you let your body breathe freely, you are saying, I belong here. I am grounded. I am not rushing to escape myself or this moment. And the world will respond in kind. The first step to mastering body language is not forcing fake confidence. It's awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to notice. Stand in front of a mirror. Don't judge yourself, just observe. Where are your shoulders? Are they slouched? Is your chest collapsed inward? Do your eyes stay on the floor instead of lifting up? Do your hands fidget and search for safety? Notice everything. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. Because once you see, you cannot unsee. And once you cannot unsee, you can begin to improve. The fundamental posture of strength is deceptively simple. Imagine a string pulling you upward from the top of your head. Keep your chin level, shoulders back. Not stiff, but relaxed and open. Chest lifted, not puffed in arrogance, but upright in self-respect. Let your arms rest naturally at your sides. Keep your feet shoulder-width apart, firm, balanced. And above all, breathe. Not shallow into your chest, but deep into your belly. This kind of breathing does more than supply oxygen. It anchors you. It slows racing thoughts. It reconnects you to your body. From this stance, you are not frantic. You are steady. You are rooted. That energy is powerful. That energy is memorable. But confidence is not only how you stand, it's how you move. Purposeful movement is a language of its own. When you enter a room, walk slowly. Not in a rush, not dragging, just steady. Rushing signals anxiety. Slow, intentional steps signal control. When you extend your hand, grip firmly, not limp, not bone-crushing, just firm. Look the other person in the eye when you greet them. When you gesture, keep movements intentional. Don't fidget or wave wildly. Use your hands to reinforce your words, not to distract from them. Touch your face less. Adjust your clothes less. These unconscious habits scream nervousness. Stillness is strength. A person who can remain still when others are frantic radiates power. People trust stillness. Another cornerstone of body language is space. Confident people take up space. They don't shrink themselves. They don't cross their arms or fold inward. They don't lean away like they're apologizing for existing. They are comfortable being seen. They are secure. When you sit, don't collapse into yourself. Keep an open posture. Back straight, shoulders open, hands visible. When you stand, give yourself room to breathe. This doesn't just change how others see you. It changes how you feel about yourself. Your body influences your brain. When you hold yourself in a posture of strength, your brain follows. Stress levels drop. Mood improves. Thinking clears. You literally begin to feel more confident. This isn't magic. It's physiology. Psychology and physiology are not separate, they are one system. Change the body and the mind adapts. But here's the truth. Confident body language is not a trick. It's not a performance. If your self-respect is empty, faking posture will only carry you so far. You must also build the inside. You must believe your voice has value. You must accept that you are allowed to take up space. You must let go of the idea that you need permission to be heard. From that place, when your inner world and outer body match, confidence flows effortlessly. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped hiding. Confidence is a muscle, and muscles must be trained. Don't wait for the big stage. Don't wait for the perfect situation. Go into everyday moments, the cafe, the office, the small social setting, and practice. Stand tall. Breathe steady. Hold eye contact a little longer than usual. Gesture with intention. Smile, not to please others, but to show you are at ease. At first, you will feel resistance. Your body will want to snap back to old habits. That's normal. But repetition rewires you. Discipline means choosing what strengthens you instead of what feels safe. And soon, people will respond differently. They'll respect your presence more. They'll listen more closely. They'll mirror your calm energy. And you will feel less like you're performing and more like you're simply being yourself. That is the true beginning of powerful communication. Most people think eye contact is just looking at someone. It isn't. Eye contact is presence. It is the cleanest signal you can send that says, I'm here. I see you. I'm not hiding. When your eyes are steady, your message gains gravity. When your eyes dart, your words feel lighter, less believable, easier to ignore. People won't tell you this outright, but they feel it. They decide if they can trust you, follow you, or be led by you within seconds, and your gaze is one of the first cues they read. The goal of strong eye contact is not to overpower. It is to connect. It must feel grounded, not aggressive. Warm, not needy. Attentive, not intrusive. Think of your gaze like a lighthouse. Steady, calm, guiding. Never a searchlight hunting for approval. When you hold someone's eyes, you do three things at once. You anchor yourself. Your mind slows. You stop racing ahead to the next sentence. Presence begins where avoidance ends. You validate the other person. I see you is one of the deepest human needs. People open up when they feel seen. You stabilize the conversation. Your eyes create rhythm. They give your words a pace and your listener a place to land. This is why great communicators feel unhurried. Their eyes signal that nothing else is more important than this moment. That energy is rare. That energy is remembered. Eye contact discomfort is normal. Your nervous system is simply used to avoiding intensity. We retrain it through gradual exposure, controlled, intentional repetitions until your body decides, we are safe here. Drill 1 mirror gaze, 2 minutes/day stand in front of a mirror. Meet your own eyes. No judgment, no self-critique. Just breathe deeply and stay. If your mind wanders, return to the breath. Start with 60 seconds, then 90, then 120. The win isn't feeling confident. The win is not looking away. Drill 2, the 4-2 rhythm. In conversation, look into the other person's eyes for 4 seconds. Glance briefly away to think or gesture for 2 seconds, then return. This creates a natural ebb and flow. Prevents staring while still signaling presence. Drill 3, the anchor word technique. Choose one internal word, here, as your anchor. Each time your eyes want to flee, silently say here and return. It interrupts old patterns. Drill 4, blink recalibration. If your gaze feels intense, soften it by blinking naturally and relaxing the muscles around your eyes. Imagine you're looking through the person with gentle focus, not at them like a laser. Drill 5, warmth injection. Slight half smile at the corners of your mouth, not a grin. A microsignal that says, you're safe here. For multi-person settings, use a triangle focus. Rotate your gaze among 3 points, the left eye, right eye, and the space between the eyebrows. This keeps your gaze steady without feeling like you're drilling holes. In groups, sprinkle brief eye contact across people, landing longer, 2 to 4 seconds, on key listeners, and always return to the whole room. Not all cultures receive eye contact the same way. In some contexts, prolonged eye contact is a challenge. In others, it's respect. Read the room. If someone noticeably averts their gaze, soften yours. Reduce duration to 2 to 3 seconds, add warmth. With elders, seniors, or high-stakes authority meetings, keep your eye contact respectful. Steady but not locked, gentle rather than piercing. In emotionally charged conversations, soften your eyes and lower your voice. Pair gaze with empathy statements like, I'm listening, or I understand this is hard. Presence without pressure. Respect without retreat. Mistake 1. The stare-down fix. Use the 4-2 rhythm. Blink naturally. Let your gaze float between the eyes and brow. Mistake 2. The scatter gaze fix. Choose one eye to focus on at a time. If you get anxious, glance briefly to their mouth or the space between their eyebrows, then return. Mistake 3. Thinking face versus listening face fix. When listening, slightly raise your eyebrows and nod occasionally. When thinking, allow your eyes to drift briefly to the side, not down to your phone or the floor, then return to their eyes. Mistake 4. Smiling to please fix. Use a neutral warm baseline. Smile with intention, not as an apology for existing. Mistake 5. Overacting confidence fix. Match your inner state by breathing slower. Confidence that isn't rooted in breath becomes tension, and tension reads as aggression. Enter the room scanning with intention. Make brief, warm eye contact with 2 to 3 people before you speak. This pre-synchronizes attention. Hold the beat after your name. Hi, I'm Ria. 1 beat of eye contact. Then continue. This gives your identity weight. Pin your key sentence. Deliver the single most important line of your message while holding steady eye contact. Then pause. Let it land. Release with a nod. After a strong point, a small nod signals closure and invites response. Mirror pace with the listener. If they're intense, bring calm. If they're withdrawn, add warmth. Your eyes are the fader for the room's emotional volume. 1 job interview. Begin with a calm, 2-second hold when greeting each interviewer. As you answer, rotate your gaze to include everyone briefly. Return to the person who asked the question for your closing line. On questions you love, let your eyes brighten. On tough ones, keep your gaze steady and slow your speech by 10 to 15%. 2. Team meeting/leadership update. State the goal while making full room sweeps. Pin the key metric to one person's eyes at a time, then repeat with another. Shared ownership is felt through shared eye contact. 3. Conflict/difficult feedback. Lower your volume, soften your eyes, hold gaze for 2 to 3 seconds only. Pair gaze with I statements. I want us to solve this. I hear you. I'm committed to fixing this. Use pauses. Let emotions breathe. Then re-engage the eyes to reboot trust. For sales/pitch. Lock your core value prop to your listener's eyes. When discussing pricing, hold steady eye contact for the first phrase. Then shift to the document or slide. This removes pressure while showing clarity. After stating the ask, stop talking. Maintain warm eye contact and wait. The pause is persuasive. 5. One-on-one mentoring/coaching. Longer listening gaze. Shorter speaking gaze. Let them feel seen for 70% of the time. Mirror their emotion with your eyes first, your words second. Your eyes broadcast your breath. Shallow breath equals jittery gaze. Deep belly breath equals settled gaze. Box breath. 3 cycles before a tough moment. Inhale 4. Hold 4. Exhale 4. Hold 4. As you exhale, imagine releasing tension from the muscles around your eyes and jaw. Your gaze will soften automatically. If you feel your gaze slipping into anxiety, feet, plant them. Feel the ground. Breath. 1 full, silent inhale through the nose. Long exhale through the mouth. Eyes, pick one eye. Hold for 2 to 3 seconds. Blink. Repeat. Voice. Drop your pace by 10%. Say the person's name. Names are anchors. This takes less than a minute but recalibrates your entire presence. Contact ratio. In a 60-second answer, aim for 35 to 45 seconds of eye contact spread naturally. Anchor hits. At least 2 returns to steady gaze during your main point. Drift recovery. Catch yourself breaking eye contact out of anxiety at least once, and return within 2 seconds. That's a rep. Count them. Progress is reps, not perfection. Day 1 mirror, 2 minutes AM/2 minutes PM, just hold. Breathe. Day 2 micro interactions. Cashier, guard, barista. 2 to 3 seconds of calm eye contact with a warm, thank you. Day 3 one conversation rule. In any one conversation today, deliver your most important sentence while locking gentle eye contact. Pause for 1 breath after. Day 4 call or video. Look into the camera lens for your key sentence, not the screen. Review the recording for baseline. Day 5 group moment. In a meeting or family setting, make brief eye contact with 3 people before your first sentence. Day 6 feedback talk. Practice soft eyes plus low voice in a sensitive conversation. Aim for 2 to 3 second holds. Day 7 review and raise. Journal what changed. Choose 1 metric to raise next week. Longer holds, calmer breath, fewer drifts. Repeat for 4 weeks. Your baseline will change permanently. Eye contact makes questions land deeper. Use this sequence. Connect. Eye contact 2 to 3 seconds. Ask, what would great look like for you here? Hold. Stay quiet. Keep your eyes soft. Listen, nod occasionally. Reflect. So the most important part is, maintain gaze during the summary. People feel respected when your eyes and your curiosity work together. If someone looks away repeatedly, reduce duration, increase warmth, and punctuate with small nods. When emotions rise, shift your eyes briefly to the side as you breathe, then return. This regulates you without abandoning presence. In high-power distance contexts, increase deference signals. Soften the eyes, lower the chin slightly, shorten holds to 1 to 2 seconds, and agree with micronods before making a point. Presence adapts. Power listens. There's a difference between eyes that say, notice me, and eyes that say, welcome. One is need. The other is leadership. Your goal is to make people feel invited into a moment where truth can be spoken and received. That invitation is carried first by your gaze, then by your voice. So practice not to perform but to be real. Practice in the small conversations that don't seem to matter so that in the moments that do, your gaze is already fluent. Practice until your eyes no longer ask for permission to exist. Practice until your presence walks into a room before your words do. Because when your eyes are calm, your message is clean. When your eyes are steady, your voice is trusted. When your eyes say, "I'm here," people will meet you there. This is the art of eye contact that commands respect without intimidation. It is not about control. It is about connection. Not about ego, about truth. Train it. Own it. Then use it to build the kind of conversations that change how people feel, think, and act. Words are cheap. Everyone talks. But not everyone moves people. The difference between the person who fills silence with noise and the person who commands a room comes down to one word: purpose. Purposeful speech isn't about big vocabulary. It's not about sounding impressive. It's about intention. Every word you say carries weight, and when that weight is directed toward something clear, it becomes forceful. It becomes energy that others can feel, respect, and follow. Think about the last time someone really got through to you. Maybe it was a mentor, a coach, a teacher, or even a friend. Chances are it wasn't their grammar that stuck. It wasn't their voice alone. It was the clarity behind what they said. They weren't rambling. They weren't trying to prove themselves. They spoke as if they knew where they were going, and that certainty pulled you along. That's the difference between noise and leadership. Before you speak, you must know why you are speaking. That sounds simple, but most people never ask themselves that question. They talk out of habit. They talk to be liked. They talk to fill space. And then they wonder why people don't listen. Purposeful communication asks, what do I want my words to do here? Do I want to inspire? Do I want to inform? Do I want to support? Do I want to challenge? Do I want to lead? If you don't know your purpose, your words will wander. And when your words wander, so does your listener's attention. But when you are clear, when you speak with the certainty of knowing your why, people lean in. They trust your direction because you have one: purpose. Each carried meaning. Steve Jobs didn't sell the iPhone with a 10-page technical explanation. He said, an iPod, a phone, an internet communicator. Are you getting it? These are not three separate devices. This is one device. Clear, direct, purposeful. When you speak with purpose, you don't aim for applause. You aim for action. You want people to do something with your words. Think differently. Feel braver, step forward, make a choice. Empty talk entertains for a moment. Purposeful talk transforms for a lifetime. You cannot fake purpose. People will feel it. If your words don't matter to you, they won't matter to anyone else. Purpose begins in belief. If you are detached, your words will fall flat. If you are desperate to impress, people will sense the insecurity behind them. But when you speak from conviction, when your words come from a place of value, principle, or vision, they cut through noise. That's why preparation matters. Not memorization, preparation. Know what you stand for before you open your mouth. Align your internal dialogue with the message you want to give. If your self-talk is full of confusion and insecurity, your outer talk will leak the same energy. But if your inner world is anchored, if your beliefs are strong, your external communication will carry weight. Speaking with purpose is not only about what you say, but how you say it. Your purpose shapes your tone, your pace, your presence. If your goal is to inspire, your voice should rise with energy at key moments, then fall into quiet conviction. If your goal is to calm, your pace should slow, your volume should soften. If your goal is to challenge, your words should cut clean, your pauses sharp. If your goal is to guide, your voice should stay steady, unshaken. Purpose gives your speech rhythm. Without it, you sound either rushed or scattered. With it, you sound composed, measured, powerful. Clarity is more persuasive than complexity. 1,000 complicated words won't reach as far as 10 clean ones. Purposeful speakers are disciplined enough to choose clarity every time. Ask yourself, can a 10-year-old understand what I just said? If not, simplify. The mark of mastery is not making things sound complicated. It's making complicated things sound simple. When you cut out filler words, when you avoid exaggeration, when you strip down to the essence of your message, you don't just sound smarter, you sound undeniable. People don't need to work hard to understand you. They can follow instantly. And when following feels easy, respect grows. Purposeful speech is not robotic. Carries emotion, but emotion under control. This doesn't mean dramatic outbursts. It means choosing to tap into the part of your listener that wants to grow, change, or move forward. When you speak with emotional presence, your message reaches past ears into decisions. A calm word spoken with conviction can carry more weight than a loud shout. Emotion doesn't mean chaos. Emotion means human. People think powerful speakers talk nonstop. They don't. They use silence. A well-placed pause after a purposeful sentence is like underlining it. It gives the listener time to absorb. It gives your words room to breathe. For example, saying, "We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems." Then pausing, letting it echo, makes the line 10 times stronger than rushing past it. Silence is not empty. Silence is emphasis. When people sense that you know exactly what you are saying and why you are saying it, they relax. They don't feel like you're wasting their time. They don't feel like you're performing for ego. They feel respected. And that respect builds trust. Trust doesn't come from big speeches, it comes from consistent purpose. If your words match your actions, if your promises are real, if your tone reflects your intent, people believe you. And when people believe you, they move with you. You don't need a stage to practice purposeful speaking. Every conversation is a chance. When a friend asks you how you are, don't mumble autopilot answers. Speak with intention. "I'm good. Working on something I really care about." That sentence carries more energy than "I'm fine." When your team asks what the plan is, don't ramble. Say, "Here's the goal. Here's why it matters. Here's what we're doing next." Short, clear, purposeful. When your family asks about your vision, don't over-explain. Say, "I want to build something that lasts. Something that makes life better." Simple but purposeful. Every moment you speak with clarity, you train the muscle. Every sentence becomes a rep. Over time, it becomes natural. You stop wandering. You start directing. You stop hoping to sound good. You start aiming to make impact. Purposeful speaking doesn't end at inspiring feelings. Pushes people toward doing. If your words don't drive action, they haven't fulfilled their potential. Don't be afraid to call people to act. Think about the choice you're making today. Take 5 minutes after this to write down your next step. If you agree, say it out loud right now. The difference between a nice conversation and a life-changing one is action. Purposeful speech carries people from thought into movement. Leadership begins in your words. Not because words are magic, but because they shape direction. The leader is not always the loudest voice. The leader is the clearest. The leader is the one who speaks from conviction, not from ego. Purposeful speech is discipline. It is choosing clarity over noise. It is choosing truth over approval. It is choosing impact over performance. When you discipline yourself to speak with purpose, people stop just hearing you, they start following you. They don't follow because you demanded it. They follow because they feel it. You don't need to be a professional speaker to use this. Every single day, you face conversations where your words could either drift away like smoke or plant seeds that grow. The question is not, can I sound impressive? The question is, can I direct my words towards something that matters? That choice is available in every room, in every meeting, in every relationship. And the moment you start making that choice, your voice shifts from noise to leadership, from filler to force, from words to action. This is how you speak with purpose. Not to impress, not to perform, but to move people and yourself into action. Most people think communication is about talking. It isn't. It's about listening. Not the kind of listening where you nod while waiting for your turn to speak. Not the shallow listening where you hear the words but miss the meaning. I'm talking about the kind of listening that makes the other person feel like they've been seen for the first time in weeks. If speaking with purpose moves people into action, then listening with depth pulls people closer. People crave one thing more than advice, more than clever lines, more than motivational speeches: to feel understood. The moment someone feels truly understood by you, the connection changes. They open up, they trust, they follow. Most people don't actually listen. They're rehearsing their reply while the other person is still speaking. They're distracted, checking their phone, scanning the room. Or worse, they're just waiting for a gap to jump in with their own story. That kind of listening is not listening, it's self-centered waiting. And it shows. People can feel when you're not really with them. Your eyes give it away. Your body posture gives it away. Your energy gives it away. Real listening is rare. That's why it's powerful. Because when you offer it, you become unforgettable. Think about the leaders you've respected the most. Chances are they weren't the ones who spoke the most. They were the ones who listened like your words mattered. They gave you space to finish your thoughts. They asked follow-up questions. They remembered what you said. That's what leadership feels like. Not someone demanding attention, but someone giving attention. Listening is not passive. It is active leadership. It says, I value you enough to give you my full presence. So how do you actually listen in a way that changes the dynamic of a conversation? 1. Eye contact that holds space. When someone is speaking, keep your gaze on them. Not staring, not drilling into them, but steady and calm. Let your eyes communicate. I'm here. You matter. Keep going. 2. Silence without panic. Most people rush to fill silence. Don't. When they pause, let the silence breathe. That silence is often when the real truth emerges. If you jump in too quickly, you cut off depth. Silence says, I can handle your truth without running from it. 3. Minimal encouragements. Use small signals. Nodding, a quiet, I see. Go on. That makes sense. These microcues are like fuel, letting them know you're still tuned in. 4. Reflective paraphrasing. When they finish, summarize briefly. So what I'm hearing is that you felt overlooked in that meeting, and that's been bothering you. Simple reflection shows you didn't just hear the words, you caught the meaning. 5. Ask depth questions. Instead of leaping in with your story, ask one more layer. What do you think is the hardest part of that? Or what would make that situation better for you? This deepens the connection. Interrupting is the fastest way to break trust. It screams, my words matter more than yours. Train yourself to let people finish, even when you think you know what they'll say. Even if you disagree, let them complete the thought. Then pause for one beat before you respond. That beat communicates respect. Trust doesn't come from how clever your sentences are. It comes from how safe people feel around you. And safety is built in listening. When you listen deeply, people feel safe to reveal more of themselves. They don't worry about being judged. They don't worry about being ignored. They feel valued. Once they feel valued, trust grows. And when trust grows, influence follows. Listening is not weakness. It's the ultimate power move. Deep listening also trains your own self-control. Because to listen fully, you must quiet the noise inside your own head. You must set aside your need to win, your urge to prove, your impatience to get to the point. You discipline your ego to let someone else's reality take the front seat for a moment. That control makes you more stable, more grounded, more respected. People sense when you have the capacity to hold space without rushing to fill it with yourself. When you listen deeply, something subtle but powerful happens. People begin to mirror you. They start listening back. They start respecting silence. They slow down their own racing thoughts. Your presence calms the room. Listening is contagious. And in a world addicted to noise, the person who listens becomes magnetic. Deep listening isn't just about kindness. It's also about intelligence. When you listen carefully, you gather data others miss. You notice what's not said. You catch patterns in tone, in word choice, in body language. You uncover hidden fears, unspoken motivations. This information is priceless. It gives you leverage not to manipulate but to lead wisely. While others rush to talk, you gather the map. And the one with the map has the advantage. 1. The 80-20 rule. In your next conversation, aim to listen 80% of the time, speak 20%. Notice how it changes the energy. 2. The one-question habit. After someone speaks, instead of replying with your story, ask one more question. Just one. Watch how it deepens the dialogue. 3. The 5-second delay. Before you respond, count silently to 5. This prevents knee-jerk reactions and gives weight to your words. 4. Mirror and match. Subtly mirror their posture, pace, or tone. Not to manipulate, but to show alignment. People feel safer with those who match their rhythm. When you discipline yourself to listen deeply, you automatically rise in people's perception. They begin to think of you as wiser, more stable, more trustworthy, not because you said more, but because you absorbed more. Leaders don't always need the final word. Leaders need the clearest perspective. And perspective comes from listening. Everyone you meet is fighting battles you can't see. Everyone you meet is carrying stories they don't often share. Most people walk through life feeling invisible. But when you listen deeply, when you really stop, look, and let them know they matter, you become rare. You become the person they remember. Listening is not just hearing. It is leadership. It is connection. It is the discipline of putting your ego aside long enough to let another human being breathe. When you master listening, your words, when you finally do speak, will carry 10 times more power. Because people know they're not just hearing noise. They're hearing someone who understands. Words are not just sound. They are promises. Every sentence you speak tells people something about your values, your intentions, and whether you can be trusted. You may think you're just talking, but your listener is always measuring. Do I believe this person? Do I feel safe with their words? Do I want to follow their voice? Trust is built or broken one word at a time. And in a noisy world where careless talk is the norm, the person who disciplines their words becomes unforgettable. When you speak, people are not only hearing the message, they are feeling the delivery. The same fact can either build trust or destroy it depending on how it's said. You can tell the truth and still lose people if your tone is sharp, dismissive, or manipulative. You can make promises, but if your follow-through is weak, your words become cheap. Words are bricks. With care, you can build bridges. Without care, you build walls. That choice is yours every time you open your mouth. Careless speech is easy. Thoughtful speech requires discipline. Before you speak, ask, what effect will these words have? Am I saying this to help or just to be heard? Will this create clarity or confusion? Speaking with awareness doesn't mean being hesitant. It means being intentional. Your voice is too powerful to be casual with. Trust starts with truth, but not all truth builds trust. It's not only what you say, but how you say it. Harsh truth without care wounds. Gentle truth with clarity heals. Imagine telling someone, "You failed again." That may be factual, but it destroys morale. Now imagine saying, "This didn't work the way we hoped. Let's figure out how to do it better next time." Still truthful, but constructive, respectful, trust-building. Your responsibility is not just to speak truth. It is to deliver it in a way that strengthens, not weakens, the relationship. Nothing kills trust faster than inconsistency. If your words say one thing and your actions say another, people stop believing you. And once lost, trust is hard to rebuild. When you commit, follow through. When you promise, deliver. If you don't know, admit it. Saying, "I don't have that answer right now," is more trustworthy than bluffing your way through. People respect consistency more than perfection. Be direct. Be specific. Vague words create doubt because they force people to guess your meaning. Doubt corrodes trust. Clarity builds it. Instead of saying, "We'll handle it soon," say, "We'll send the update by Thursday afternoon." Instead of, "I'll try to be there," say, "I'll be there at 6 p.m. Clarity earns confidence. The fewer words you use to deliver certainty, the more weight each word carries. Some confuse careful speech with softness. But strength doesn't mean harshness. Real strength is delivering honesty without stripping dignity. It's being direct without being cruel. It's holding boundaries without breaking respect. When your words are both clear and kind, you command both respect and loyalty. People listen not because they fear you, but because they trust you. Never use words to play with emotions, to gain short-term approval, or to force reactions. Manipulative speech may work once, but it leaves a scar. People may smile to your face, but behind it, they will pull away. Trust grows when people feel you speak to connect, not to control. You will say the wrong thing sometimes. You will hurt, confuse, or mislead. The difference between those who build trust and those who lose it is simple: accountability. When you misspeak, own it quickly. Apologize clearly. Clarify the message. People don't expect perfection, but they do expect honesty. A clean correction earns more trust than a flawless performance. How you talk about people when they're not in the room reveals who you are. If you criticize behind backs, listeners will assume you'll do the same to them. If you protect and honor others even in their absence, people know they can trust you when they're not around. Every word you speak about others writes your reputation in the minds of those listening. Your self-talk leaks into your conversations. If you constantly downplay your worth, apologize for existing, or insult yourself in front of others, it makes people uncertain about you. Why should they trust someone who doesn't trust themselves? Speak about yourself with honesty, but also with respect. Don't pretend to be perfect, but don't pretend to be powerless either. Confidence is not arrogance. It's self-respect. And self-respect is communicated first in how you speak about yourself. The right words at the wrong time can damage more than silence. Wisdom isn't just knowing what to say. It's knowing when to say it. Some conversations require patience. Some truths need preparation. Some messages need silence first. Don't rush just to relieve your own discomfort. Words land best when timing is considered. Don't underestimate the power of affirming language. Celebrate effort. Recognize contribution. Give credit. These simple acknowledgments are rare and therefore unforgettable. When people feel seen and appreciated by your words, they attach loyalty to you. They remember how you made them feel. Every conversation adds to your reputation. Every word either strengthens or weakens the trust others have in you. Think long-term. Speak in a way today that will still hold weight tomorrow. When you choose your words carefully, when you discipline your speech to align with your values, when you protect the dignity of those around you, you become someone whose voice people rely on. Not for entertainment, not for flattery, but for truth. In a world filled with careless talk, your careful speech will stand out. Your words will not just fill space. They will build trust one sentence at a time. Words are only half the message. The other half rides on your tone, the emotion, the energy, and the rhythm in your voice. You may have the right words, but if your tone is off, the message will land wrong. A helpful reminder can sound like an insult. A statement of care can feel cold. A truth can be dismissed as arrogance. Tone is the bridge between your intention and their perception. If the bridge is shaky, the message falls. If the bridge is steady, your meaning reaches the listener fully intact. That's why mastering tone isn't optional. It's essential. When you speak, people don't just listen to the content. They listen to the breath between sentences, the rhythm of your delivery, the rise and fall of your pitch. They hear tension in your pauses, impatience in your rhythm, frustration in your volume. Even if you choose the right words, your tone may expose the truth of how you feel. You see, to build trust, you must discipline your emotions before you open your mouth. When you feel triggered or impatient, pause. Don't let your tone carry your reaction. Breathe. Reset. Choose to speak from clarity, not chaos. This choice alone sets you apart. Lowering your tone doesn't make you weak. It makes you powerful. It shows you are in control of yourself. Communicates authority without aggression. Many people think raising their voice makes them stronger. It doesn't. Shouting usually makes people defensive. It shuts down listening. In fact, lowering your volume often increases your influence. A softer tone invites people to lean in, creates intimacy. It signals confidence. You don't need to shout because your words already carry weight. Volume is not strength. Presence is strength. Your pace changes how people feel about your words. Speak too fast, and you sound anxious or unsure. Speak too slowly, and you risk sounding disconnected. The sweet spot is intentional rhythm. Calm, clear, steady. Slowing down gives your words gravity. It allows them to sink in. It also gives you time to think, preventing sloppy sentences and unnecessary fillers. Fast talkers often fill their speech with, like, and you know, because their mouth outruns their mind. Purposeful pacing eliminates that. Pauses are tone multipliers. A well-timed pause creates tension, anticipation, and emphasis. It gives your listener a chance to absorb your message. Tells them, this part matters. Great communicators use pauses as punctuation, not hesitation. They understand that silence carries just as much weight as sound. If your goal is to encourage, don't let your tone sound critical. If your goal is to calm, don't let your tone sound impatient. If your goal is to lead, don't let your tone sound frantic. Your tone must match your intention. When there's a mismatch, trust erodes. People might not know exactly why, but they'll sense something off. Consistency between your message and your tone is what creates credibility. Think about someone you deeply respect. Chances are, their tone is steady, grounded, and clear. They don't rush. They don't lose control. They don't use unnecessary harshness. Their tone makes you feel safe. Now think of someone who constantly raised their voice or let frustration spill out in every conversation. Even when their words were reasonable, their tone created tension. Over time, you stopped listening, not because of their content, but because of the feeling their voice left behind. That's the truth about tone. People don't just remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. Record yourself. Pick a conversation, a meeting, or a practice speech. Record and play it back. Notice the tone shifts. Do you sound impatient? Flat? Sharp? Awareness is the first step. Breathing reset. Before important conversations, use deep belly breathing. Inhale slowly, exhale fully. Your breath is the remote control for your tone. Shallow breath equals shaky tone. Steady breath equals grounded tone. Check the goal. Ask yourself, what result do I want from this conversation? If you want clarity, your tone should be measured. If you want empathy, your tone should be soft. If you want motivation, your tone should carry energy. Let the goal guide the sound. Practice softening. In everyday conversations, consciously lower your volume and slow your pace. Train your nervous system to remain calm even when emotions run high. Over time, your tone becomes your identity. People will describe you based on how your voice made them feel. Calm, aggressive, warm, harsh, reassuring. Your tone becomes part of your brand. In workplaces, in friendships, in families, people remember not only what you said, but how you said it. That's why tone control isn't just a skill. It's respect. It shows that you take responsibility for the impact of your words. Tone mastery is a choice. It's the discipline of not letting your temporary emotions hijack your permanent reputation. It's aligning your delivery with your values instead of your impulses. Speak in a way that reflects who you are at your best, not who you are in your worst moment. Speak with calm strength, even under pressure. Speak with steady presence, even when tested. That kind of tone makes people lean in. It makes people trust you. It makes people remember you, not because you were the loudest, but because you were the most aligned. In today's world, speed is worshipped. People move fast, scroll fast, consume fast, and they speak fast. But here's the hidden truth. Speed in speech often weakens your power. When you rush your words, you strip them of weight. You blur your meaning. You broadcast nervousness even if you know your subject well. Think of the last time you heard someone speak too quickly. You may have caught the words, but did you feel the message? Probably not. Fast speech is often interpreted as anxiety, uncertainty, or even dishonesty. Slow, steady speech, on the other hand, signals control, confidence, and authority. If you want your words to hit harder, last longer, and truly connect, slow them down. Fast equals nervous. When you speak too quickly, people assume you're anxious or unsure, even if your content is solid. Fast equals unclear. Listeners can't keep up with rapid-fire delivery. They miss key points, and your message is forgotten. Fast equals forgettable. Speed makes words fly past without resonance. People may hear you, but they won't remember you. By contrast, deliberate pacing projects. I'm in control. I value what I'm saying. I respect your time enough to let this land. Some people fear that slowing down will make them dull. The opposite is true. A calm, intentional rhythm makes people pay closer attention. It gives your words gravity, creates anticipation. Think of a skilled storyteller. They don't rush to the punchline. They pace the story, drawing you in, making you wait, and when the moment lands, it lands with impact. Gives you time to think. When you slow down, you stop relying on nervous habits and fillers. You speak from clarity, not chaos. Gives others time to absorb. The human brain processes meaning slower than it processes sound. Pauses let ideas stick. Creates authority. The person who isn't rushing signals confidence. They show they are in command of the moment. Silence is not weakness. It's power. A pause after a strong line can make it echo in the listener's mind. For example, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Pause. That pause makes the point unforgettable. Without the pause, the sentence is just another line. With it, it becomes wisdom. 1. Record and review. Record yourself speaking for 2 minutes. Play it back. Notice if your speed feels rushed. Highlight where you should have paused. 2. Write key sentences. Choose 1 or 2 sentences per conversation to deliver slowly and with a pause afterward. This anchors your message. 3. Practice box breathing. Inhale 4 seconds, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. This slows your nervous system. Calm breath creates calm words. 4. The half-speed drill. Take a paragraph and read it at half your normal speed. Exaggerate pauses. Train your mouth to slow down. 5. Conversation rule. In casual talks, consciously drop your pace by 10%. Just 10%. Enough to be noticeable but still natural. Over time, it becomes your default. Slowing down doesn't mean flattening your energy. You can still speak with passion and intensity. The difference is that your passion is controlled. Instead of spilling everywhere, it's directed. Use a slightly faster pace to show excitement, but always return to steady rhythm. Use a slower pace for important points so they land with force. This variation creates rhythm. Rhythm creates engagement. Filler words, like, often appear because your mouth is outrunning your brain. Slowing down fixes this. When you pause instead of filling the space with noise, you sound sharper. Your words become cleaner, your message smoother. In high-pressure or emotional conversations, slowing down is critical. If you rush, your tone sharpens and your words stumble. If you slow down, you project stability. You calm the room. You give the impression that you are leading the moment, not being led by it. Job interviews. A calm pace signals confidence. Pausing before answering shows thoughtfulness. Leadership speeches. Slow pacing makes your message sound deliberate, authoritative. Conflict resolution. Speaking slower reduces tension, keeps emotions from spiraling. Negotiations. Pauses after key statements put pressure on the other side to respond, giving you the upper hand. Here's the secret. Slowing down isn't just about speaking. It's about being comfortable with silence. Silence is not empty. It's charged. Communicates composure. It makes people lean in. Those who fear silence rush to fill it with meaningless words. Those who master silence let it work for them. Fast talkers are easy to dismiss. Slow, intentional communicators are respected. Because they project. I'm not desperate for you to hear me. I know what I'm saying matters, and I'll give you time to let it sink in. When you slow down, you create impact. You turn words into moments. You stop being just another voice in the noise and become the voice people remember. Most people think influence comes from having the right answers. In reality, true influence often comes from asking the right questions. Questions are more than tools of curiosity. They are weapons of clarity. They shift conversations. They open minds. They unlock truths that statements never could. The person who asks powerful questions is the person who steers the dialogue. They are not just participating, they are leading. Because while answers close conversations, questions open them. When you give an answer, you're showing what you know. But when you ask a question, you're showing what you value. And people remember how you made them think far longer than they remember the information you gave. Answers inform. Questions transform. The best leaders, teachers, and communicators don't dominate with speeches. They guide with questions. They make others discover the truth themselves, which is always more powerful than being told. A great question has 3 traits. Creates focus. It directs attention to what matters. Creates reflection. It forces the person to go inward, not just react outward. Creates action. It leaves the listener with something to do, decide, or change. For example, instead of saying, "You need to be more disciplined," ask, "What would your life look like 6 months from now if you followed through on your promises every day?" That question doesn't accuse. It inspires vision. It makes the person confront themselves. 1. Open-ended questions. These expand the conversation. What's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? They invite depth, detail, honesty. 2. Clarifying questions. These prevent misunderstanding. When you say you're overwhelmed, do you mean with time or with priorities? They show you're listening and seeking accuracy. 3. Reflective questions. These hold up a mirror. What part of this situation do you actually control? They build self-awareness. 4. Forward-looking questions. These direct energy toward action. What's one step you can take today to move closer to your goal? They create momentum. 5. Challenge questions. These disrupt comfort zones. What excuse have you been repeating to yourself that keeps you stuck? They cut through denial and invite growth. Asking a strong question is only half the skill. The other half is shutting up. Silence after a question is where transformation happens. Don't rescue the other person from discomfort. Let them think. Let them struggle. Let them arrive at their own answer. The pause is not empty. It's pregnant with possibility. Most people fear that silence and ruin it by jumping in too soon. Don't. Wait. Let the question breathe. Asking good questions doesn't just build influence. It builds trust. When you ask someone a meaningful question, you're saying, "I care about your perspective. I care about your reality." People open up when they feel valued. And nothing communicates value more than genuine curiosity. Questions prove you're not just waiting to talk. You're there to understand. Statements close minds. Questions open them. Statement. We need to work harder. Question. What can we do differently that would make this easier and more effective? One makes people defensive. The other invites ownership. And ownership creates commitment. Replace advice with curiosity. Before giving your opinion, ask at least one question. Keep it short. Long, complicated questions confuse. Great questions are simple. Aim at the heart. Don't waste questions on surface-level chatter. Ask what really matters. Listen fully. A question without listening is manipulation. A question with listening is leadership. Practice daily. In every conversation, challenge yourself to ask at least one meaningful question. What's holding you back that you haven't admitted yet? If nothing changes, where will you be a year from now? What's the one decision you're avoiding that could change everything? Who do you need to become to reach the goal you're chasing? What would you do if you weren't afraid? These are not casual questions. They are keys. Use them wisely. Asking questions requires humility. It means admitting you don't know everything. It means giving space for someone else's truth. It means valuing understanding more than control. But when you embrace that discipline, your influence multiplies. People will remember you not as the one who talked the most, but as the one who helped them think the most. Here's the paradox. The most powerful communicators are not the ones who dominate conversations with answers. They are the ones who shape conversations with questions. Because a good answer can satisfy someone for a moment, but a good question can change the direction of their life. Facts inform. Stories transform. You can list statistics, deliver data, and present logical arguments, but nothing will ever touch the human mind and heart the way a story does. People may forget your bullet points, but they will never forget the story that made them feel something. Storytelling is not entertainment. It is influence. It is the ability to package truth in a way that makes people see themselves inside it. A well-told story can shift a mindset, break a belief, spark courage, or even ignite a movement. If you want people to listen, you need clarity. If you want people to remember, you need a story. The human brain is wired for stories. Long before we had textbooks or presentations, we had stories around fires. Stories are how knowledge survived, how wisdom spread, how values were passed down. They trigger emotion, and emotion drives memory. Here's the science. Stories activate both the language centers of the brain and the sensory areas. That means listeners don't just hear, they experience. When someone tells a story about courage, your brain simulates what it feels like to be brave. When someone shares a story about struggle, your body mirrors the stress. That's why stories are sticky. They bypass the intellect and go straight to the nervous system. A powerful story doesn't need to be long. It just needs structure. The hook: grab attention fast. Set the scene, raise curiosity, drop into conflict. He walked into the boardroom shaking, knowing his entire career was on the line. The struggle. Show the tension, the obstacle, the fear. Don't sanitize it. People connect with pain, not perfection. The shift. Reveal the turning point, the decision, the realization, the action that changed the direction. The resolution. Show the outcome, the lesson, the win, or the loss that carried wisdom. The takeaway. Tie it back to your listener. This isn't just my story. It's yours. Because you face the same choice today. That structure works whether your story is 2 minutes or 20. People don't connect with flawless heroes. They connect with flawed humans. The more honest you are about your fears, failures, and struggles, the more relatable you become. Vulnerability in storytelling is not weakness, it's credibility. If you want people to respect you, share your strengths. If you want people to trust you, share your struggles. You don't need a stage to use storytelling. You can use it anywhere. In a team meeting, instead of saying, "We need to improve," tell a 2-minute story about a past project that almost collapsed but turned around because of discipline. In a job interview, instead of reciting skills, tell the story of the hardest challenge you solved and what it taught you. In family conversations, instead of giving lectures, share a story from your own life that carries the lesson. Stories turn lectures into moments people remember. The struggle story. Show where you failed, doubted, or fought through something difficult. This builds relatability. The success story. Share a win, but frame it as the result of process, not perfection. This builds credibility. The shared story. Tell a story that reflects the listener's situation. This builds connection. With these 3, you can lead, inspire, and connect with anyone. Great stories are not just events, they are emotions. Don't just say what happened. Show how it felt. Instead of, "I lost my job," say, "I remember staring at the email, my chest tight, thinking my whole future had just collapsed." When you describe feelings, you activate empathy. Your listener doesn't just know your story, they feel it. And when they feel it, they remember it. Leaders who master storytelling move people more effectively than those who only give instructions. A list of rules may inform behavior, but a story makes people want to change. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just say, "We need equality." He said, "I have a dream." That's story. That's vision. That's why his words still echo. As a leader, every story you tell is a chance to shape culture. Collect stories from your life, failures, lessons, wins, funny moments, painful moments. Write them down in a story bank. Break them into the 5-part structure: hook, struggle, shift, resolution, takeaway. Practice telling them in under 3 minutes. Short, punchy, emotional. Insert them into conversations. Notice how people lean in. Refine over time, trim the excess, sharpen the punchline, amplify the takeaway. Storytelling is not about impressing. It's about connecting. It's about showing people they're not alone. It's about guiding them toward possibility through your own experience. When you discipline yourself to frame your experiences as stories, you stop wasting words. You stop overwhelming people with data. You start planting truths in their memory. Every story you tell either builds a bridge or a barrier. The bridge says, "I've been where you are. Here's what I learned. You can use it too." The barrier says, "I'm perfect, you're not." If you want to captivate any audience, friends, colleagues, strangers, or millions online, choose the bridge. Share the real moments. Share the lessons. Share the humanity. Because people may forget what you said, but they will never forget the story that made them see themselves in your voice. Long BEF. I belong here. I respect myself. I'm grounded. I don't need to prove myself, but I also won't shrink. The person with presence doesn't need to be the loudest. They don't need to demand attention. Attention naturally flows to them because they radiate calm certainty. If you want to be heard, respected, and remembered, you must first learn to command presence. People feel you before they hear you. Your energy announces you. If you walk in rushed, distracted, hunched, people sense chaos. If you walk in steady, composed, aware, people sense confidence. Commanding presence doesn't mean being dramatic. It means being deliberate. Every move is intentional. Every breath is controlled. Every glance signals that you are not just in the room, you own your space in it. Posture, stand tall. Shoulders back, chest open, feet grounded. Posture says more than words ever can. Eye contact, meet eyes without fear. Not to intimidate, but to connect. Presence lives in steady gaze. Breath, slow, deep breathing anchors your energy. It prevents your presence from being hijacked by nerves. Stillness, those who fidget radiate insecurity. Those who are still radiate strength. Tone, a calm, steady tone makes people lean in. A frantic tone makes them pull back. When these five align, your presence becomes undeniable. Pause before entering. Take one deep breath before you walk in. Reset your state. Survey the room. As you step in, lift your eyes. Acknowledge the space. Acknowledge the people. Control your pace. Walk neither too fast nor too slow. Walk steady. Walk like you belong. Acknowledge people. Brief eye contact, a slight nod, a warm smile. It sets the tone before you even speak. Claim your space. Whether sitting or standing, open your posture. Never fold yourself small. Presence requires space. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in a room is say nothing. Silence, paired with steady presence, can shift the entire dynamic. When others rush to talk, your stillness stands out. It says, "I don't need to prove myself. I'm here. I'll speak when it matters." This restraint makes your eventual words carry more weight. People listen because they've already been primed to. True presence cannot be faked for long. It must be built from within. If your self-respect is weak, your posture will collapse. If your focus is scattered, your tone will falter. If your belief in your own worth is shaky, your eyes will reveal it. Presence is the outer reflection of inner alignment. When you respect yourself, you naturally project strength. When you know your voice matters, you naturally hold space. That's why presence is as much about mindset as it is about body language. You must tell yourself before you enter the room, "I belong here. I'm grounded. I don't chase approval. I create it." Job interviews. Enter slowly. Shake hands firmly. Sit upright. Hold steady eye contact when you answer. Your calm is the message. Presentations. Before you speak, scan the audience. Pause. Breathe. Let silence command attention before your first word. Conflict conversations. Lower your tone. Slow your words. Keep your body still. Presence here means control under pressure. Leadership moments. Look people in the eye. Speak less, but with clarity. Let your silence before and after key points carry gravity. Presence is not something you switch on in big moments. It's a daily discipline. It's how you sit at your desk, how you walk through the hallway, how you greet a stranger. Every interaction is training ground. If you practice presence in the small moments, it will be natural in the big ones. If you only try to summon it on stage, it will feel forced. Presence must be your default setting. When you command presence, people treat you differently. They listen more. They respect your space. They mirror your calm energy. And slowly, you stop having to demand authority because it is freely given. Presence isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, the room responds. Your body speaks before your words. Your eyes lead before your sentences. Your breath steadies the entire space before your ideas even arrive. Presence is not about being perfect. It's about being grounded, disciplined, aligned. When you stand tall, breathe deep, speak slow, and listen fully, you don't just walk into a room. You command it. And when you can command presence, everything else, your words, your tone, your stories, your questions, gains exponential power. Because now people aren't just hearing you. They're following you.